I think they're car axles. I was a hot mess securing them. It's not that difficult to secure, but first time I've ever thrown straps over something that tall, aside from securement training, because you'll throw straps over a box about that tall. And then I had to rethrow like 4 straps. But every strap on the truck I used, so we've got 12 4-inch straps, and they secure up to 8,000 pounds each, and then 4 2-inch straps, and they secure up to 4,000 pounds each, and then we secure it for length as well. Now some of these pieces, if you include this, are almost 10 feet. And if you just count the base, they're almost 8. So we just threw every strap on there. I called the Maverick securement line and talked to them. And that's one good thing. One other good thing, there's a lot of good things about Maverick, is that they've got a 24/7 securement line. You can call, text them pictures, take videos, and they will walk you through how to secure stuff out here. Tools, vitally important. You can't do a lot of work on Maverick's trucks, but when it comes to something simple like this, let's see if I can get that in there. I don't know if you can see that. That seal's cracked. So I was doing my pre-trip. Well, actually, it was just an inspection. I was fueling, and I kept losing air. So let's turn this camera around here. See it right there? Right there. So we're gonna pull that out. $5. We'll put that back in. Put a new one in. Then we'll get rolling. Alright, we got that fixed. So for those of you who knew what you were doing when you watched me put that on, or start to put it on, I put it on backwards. So I had to take it off and put it back on, but air leak stopped. $4.30. God only knows what that would have cost me if I would have called that in and went to a shop. So I did call, excuse me for a second, I did call our maintenance department, and I said, can I just go in and try and fix this myself? It's just a grommet. And they said, sure. So I wouldn't have worked on, you know, I didn't work on anything, but I wouldn't have done that without Maverick's permission. They can get a little crazy about that. So we're on our way to Jersey. Here we go. Guys, what is going on? I sound a little hillbilly. What's going on? There's all this dirt all over my face. Oh. Well, I hope you all had a good weekend. I meant to get a video out before the weekend, but it didn't happen. So it's Monday morning, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're in Charlotte, North Carolina. Just got unloaded. Took 5 aluminum coils, suicide, or eye to the side, however you want to say it. Took them from Lancaster, PA. Picked them up on Friday, and made it down here on Saturday, and then spent the weekend in North Carolina. So I didn't make it home this weekend. It's my first weekend, but only like, what, this was the end of my 4th week with Maverick. But I had a breakdown on Thursday. The idle management system went out in the truck, and what else happened? So, I had a coolant leak. I woke up Thursday morning at like 4:30 in the morning on a rest area with all kinds of alarms going off on my truck, and walked out, looked under the hood, and there was a puddle of coolant. So it ended up being a broken bracket. I think I talked about it on this video somewhere. I've tried to shoot some clips this week, and some of them I'll keep and some of them I won't. So anyway, yeah, so I've got to be home Thursday. I got an appointment with the TWIC office in Cincinnati, Ohio, so on Friday morning. So we're going to run today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, and go home Thursday. Got some news. Maverick called me, and they said, hey, man, we got a new dedicated account that goes through Ohio, and wanted to know if you're interested. So at first I was like, I don't know. Tell me a little bit about it. I actually called him back and left him a voicemail when they first called me and said, no, I appreciate the offer, but I got to get some OTR time in. And I ended up calling them back. I went home that weekend. That was the weekend before last. And when I left the house Monday, I was just, man, it's rough for me leaving the house. Sometimes, call it what it is. I mean, this lifestyle is okay, but you leave the house, you don't know if you're going to make it home the next weekend. And, you know, I love my wife, and I would rather spend a lot more time with her. And so you can call me a baby or whatever you want, but it is what it is. So I actually called them back, and I said, all right, tell me a little bit about this. And they said, well, it's mostly Ohio, but you will do interstate. And it goes up and down 75 from Detroit to Cincinnati, which I live right off of 75. I live a half mile off 75. And they said our drivers right now that are on it are getting home every Friday, and usually not leaving until Monday morning, and they're home. They said, we're not guaranteeing you're going to be home every weekend, but these guys make it home every weekend. Now, of course, unless you break down or something like that. So I said, all right, sign me up, let's try it. So it's still interstate, not intrastate, so I'll be crossing state lines. My ultimate goal is to be an owner-operator. So my wife and I, before I even started at Maverick, we paid off all our debt. And, man, I forget what that was. I wish she was here. It was like 30 grand, I think. And then we built another huge savings started out as a house savings. We wanted to put a down payment on a house. We couldn't find anything. Ended up buying her a newer truck, a couple years old, and then took the rest of it, which is a huge chunk, and put it aside for a semi, for a truck, for me, or for us. It's going to be our business. So there's enough there for me to pay cash for a decent used semi. So that's my ultimate goal. And I'm looking at Mercer and Landstar to sign on within the next year or so, maybe two. And both of them just need interstate experience. So we're going to try this new dedicated account. So I got to finish out this week OTR. And then Monday I start the new dedicated account. And I'll let you all know what it's like. I'll be going from Detroit to Cincinnati mostly is what I've heard. So we'll see. So that's exciting. What else did I want to share with you guys this week? There's a couple things. So I made it to New York City. Shoot me. I actually had to deliver in Englewood, New Jersey, and then some of the roads I had to take kind of bounced out of New York City and in New York City. Let me tell you, that was a blast. So that's one of the places that I think drivers fear going the most. And there's a good reason. You have got to know before you get down there where you're going. You got to know. MapQuest it, put it on your Rand McNally, look it up in your Atlas, call them for directions, whatever you got to do. Now I've got a little process that I like to go through. I've got a Rand McNally Atlas GPS. I do not trust that son of a B. You know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. Do not trust your GPS. Do not trust it. I'm serious. If I would just listen to that thing, it would have put me in so many situations that I would have it would not have ended up well. It is a backup. It's a secondary, okay? When that thing switches routes on me, when it tells me to start taking side streets, no. So what I'll do is I get my route, and I'll look in my Atlas. Always use your Atlas as you want to visualize where you're going. You want to see it in the map. And then what I'll do is I'll look it up on Google Maps too, and I'll go to the satellite image, and I'll actually look at the place I'm delivering or picking up. I'll look at the parking lot, the roads in and out of there. I can usually tell where shipping and receiving is, or at least where I can park the truck and get out and go find shipping and receiving. So that I do too. And then I will turn on the Rand McNally Atlas, and GPS, and I will use it. I will see which route it wants to take, and I will trace that route on my atlas. I will see if that is the shortest route, because many times it's not. And then I will check the atlas, the front of the atlas. I'm going to try and show this to you all. This is my atlas. I beat the hell out of this thing. I've used it so much just in 4 weeks. But if you look in the front, I don't know if you can see that. Like, there's Utah. Low clearance, and then down here, restricted routes, and it gives you all of your highways. Okay, so if I'm going through Utah and my GPS is trying to take me on anything but the interstate, I'm going to look in that section for Utah or any other state I'm in to make sure that it's not a restricted route or it doesn't have a low clearance, because that GPS, I'm pointing to it, it's on my windshield, will sometimes route you in restricted areas. Please don't trust your GPS. If you're a new driver or if you're thinking about getting into driving, they're good tools to have. But they're backups. You cannot let that thing run your truck. So I went down to Jersey, and that was fine. Got out of there, and now here we are. So there is one other thing that I wanted to talk about this week, because I've run into a couple situations, and I think it's important just to cover this, especially for guys who and girls who are going to get into the industry, because it can get a little stressful out here. I want to talk a little bit about emotional intelligence. There are not a lot of grown folk out here, it seems like sometimes, who have enough emotional intelligence to keep them stable. And without it, it's going to cause you a lot of trouble. So emotional intelligence is how to deal with people, how to handle people's emotions, especially hostile people or people who can't hold their temper, how to deal with your own emotions in times of trouble, or maybe you're doubting yourself or you're having a rough day. And I'll give you an example I ran into this Friday. So I picked up in Lancaster, PA, and I will say, in van, when I had pulled flat van, this wasn't true. Shippers and receivers weren't real respectful to truck drivers, and they probably still aren't. I don't know. But when I'm pulling flatbed, I would say 70% of the time, shippers and receivers are pretty cool to the drivers. It's just a different atmosphere. Well, I pull into this place in Lancaster, and I won't say where it's at, to pick up these coils. And I get down to the check-in, and the guard in the check-in who checks me in, I don't know, you kind of get vibes from people. He doesn't even look at me. He's just kind of telling me, now, you're going to do this and you're going to do that, and if I catch you doing this, I'm going to kick you out. And he doesn't make eye contact with me for the entire 5-minute conversation, which, whatever. So, like, all right, yes sir, no sir. I mean, I don't kiss ass, but I don't have a lot of pride either. I'll call someone sir or ma'am or whatever, especially to get on their good side. Now, I won't be bullied. I will not be bullied, and that's a little different. But when I say I won't be bullied, there's a certain way you handle that. I don't mean that I'm going to go knock someone out if they mouth off to me. I mean, I just won't let myself be bullied. Now, I let myself be disrespected a little bit at first, but if that continues for a while, then I'm going to have an issue with that person, and we'll have to figure out, the two of us will have to figure out how to handle that. But, so I get in there, and, I deal with the security guard, and I'm like, all right, no big deal. I pull down to shipping. I back into shipping like they tell me to, and this guy comes out of nowhere, and he just starts barking orders. You're going to need 5 or 10 coil racks. You're getting 5 coils, and he marches off. And I said, oh, whoa, wait a second. I said, that's more than what anybody else has told me. I said, I need to know the width and the weight of these coils so I can set up my coil rack. He said, they all weigh between 4,000 and 6,000 pounds, and you don't need to know the width. And I said, I'm not going to set this trailer up till you tell me the width or show me the coils. So he points to 2 coils, and he says, they're all that size, and he walks away. So that gave me enough to know when I need to know the width, because I need to know how to set my coil racks and my cradles up. And 4,000 to 6,000 pounds, I know how many securements I need. I really only need 1, but I'm going to use 2 for each. And I did. I used 2 for each coil. So they didn't tell me I needed. I didn't even know what I was getting. I didn't know how to build coil racks. So I'd already backed my truck into the dock. and there's safety landings on both sides. So I had to pull the truck back out to get to the lumber. So I pull all of my lumber out, and I set it on the deck, and I back in. And I'm on the phone with Securement, Maverick Securement, talking to them about these coils, because I've never carried 5 before. And it's not hard. I knew what I was doing, but I just wanted to run a couple things by them before I started. And this guy comes flying out of nowhere again, and he starts yelling, telling me that I'm bullshitting. I'm sorry for, pardon my language, but bullshitting on the phone. He doesn't have time for it. And then I better pull my effing truck back out, get my timbers, get my truck set up, and get back in here because he wants to go home. Screaming at me. So the guy on the phone to Maverick was like, you need to get his name, and let Maverick know what's going on. So I ignore him. I said to him, you can't rush me, man. I'm not gonna rush through this, but I'm telling you, I've got all my timbers. Like, I can get this done for you. I know you want to go home. Well, he stands there with his arms crossed and barking orders at me for like 5 or 6 minutes. I finally said, brother, what's your name? And I just wanted to try and get a kind of personal, with him, just call him by his first name and talk to him. And he said, you don't need to effing worry about that. And I said, all right, I need you to get your supervisor for me. Now, at that point, I had tried to put water on the fire with him, and it wasn't working, and he was actually getting more and more hostile. So he went and got a supervisor. I was shocked. And if he wouldn't have, I probably would have just called Maverick and said, I need somebody to call and talk to the supervisor here before I continue. Supervisor came out, super cool, and I just talked through it with him. I said, I'm a newer driver. I said, he came down, saw me on the phone. I was on the phone with my company talking about how to set up the trailer. I said, I can't rush through this. I said, if he's going to sit there and bark orders, can we maybe get somebody else to load me? And supervisor was real cool about it, and we ended up getting it taken care of. Now, I could have turned that situation into a horrible one. I could have gotten his face. I could have yelled. I could have done all kinds of stuff, and that would have just escalated the situation. I stayed calm. I would have called Maverick if I couldn't have handled it on my own, and I worked professionally with his supervisor. And I had that truck set up, and 15 minutes after I talked to his supervisor, I was loaded in another 20 minutes, and that guy was gone. I never saw him the rest of the night. So that saved me a lot of trouble. And that's what I'm talking about with emotional intelligence. You cannot fly off the handle out here or lose your cool, all right, when you're stressed out or somebody's in your face, because you're going to have shippers that are going to be jerks. Also, when you're having bad days, emotional intelligence. I don't know how many times in that first 2 weeks that it took me 4 hours to secure a load or whatever, and I would just tell myself, I'm going to get better. I'm not going to get defeated. This is just new. Instead of, oh, I'm an idiot and I'm a loser. And so you've got to keep your cool out here. You got to have good emotional intelligence. It's going to get you a long way. I wanted to share that story with you because somebody's going to run into that same situation, and I'm asking you, please keep your cool. Do what's right. Do what you're supposed to do. You can't be bullied, but at the same time, man, don't lose your temper, fly off the deep end. I could have let that guy ruin my whole weekend. Really, I could have. And I've seen situations like that, not here at Maverick, but in the past, where I've seen guys lose their jobs. Because instead of keeping their cool and using emotional intelligence and handling that situation like they should, they snatch those people up and get in their face and punch them, and they lose their jobs, and they can't get hired in other places because they're not rehirable. Don't let that happen to you. All right, so we just got a message. We're getting a load. I hope you all have a good week. I'm going to make this video, and hey, if you like what you see, subscribe, comment, give me a thumbs up. I love comments. Reach out to me if you have any questions about Maverick Transportation. Reach out to me if you have any questions about being a new driver or becoming a new driver or getting into the trucking industry. I'd like to hear your story if you've got one. 937-609-2186. That's my phone number. Feel free to text me anytime. 937-609-2186. And you can reach me at bambamfreud@gmail.com, and I'll put that up on the screen, bambamfreud@gmail.com. Love you all. God bless, and we'll talk to you again soon. I'll tell you what, give you all a road hack. Right here. Right upside down. Carry these. Carry lots of these. For real. You can get a pack, actually you can get, 6 packs of these, come in a box on Amazon for $12, I think. I'll have to take a screenshot of the Amazon order. Man, carry these, because let me tell you that you're gonna want them. You get stuck on like I am in a rest area, you can't take a shower, you can wipe yourself off with those. Man, it's good stuff. It really helps.